John chapter 8, verse 36 says, "So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed." Today I want to talk to you guys about a powerful truth. Some of us are free in the physical sense, but our spirits are still incarcerated. This was just inspired to me by a moment of worship that I just saw on TikTok. I saw incarcerated men singing praises to God with more freedom in their hearts than many of us feel in our daily lives. How can this be? How can those who are behind bars know freedom better than those who walk outside? It's because true freedom does not come from external circumstances, but from a transformed spirit. Many of us define freedom by our ability to move, act, and make choices. We equate it with the absence of chains, the open road, or the opportunities of the world. But let me tell you, physical freedom is a hollow shell without spiritual liberty. Think of the Israelites who were free from Egypt, but still bound by fear and unbelief in the wilderness. Consider those of us today who have no physical constraints, but we're shackled by addictions, anger, or unforgiveness. We are free outside, but still chained within. Imagine someone with all the wealth and freedom to travel the world, yet they're tormented by guilt or an unresolved past. That's not freedom, it's a prison. The Apostle Paul writes in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 17, "Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom." Freedom is not the absence of prison walls, but the presence of God in our lives. Those incarcerated men singing praises have discovered a truth that sets their hearts free. Jesus is the key to every locked door in our souls. When we encounter Jesus, he breaks the chains of sin that enslave us. Paul and Silas were physically imprisoned, but their spirits were free. In Acts chapter 16, verse 25 through 26, they prayed and sang hymns to God in their jail cell, and God shook the prison with an earthquake. Their freedom was not dependent on the removal of their chains. It was rooted in their faith. What keeps us spiritually incarcerated, you might ask? Some of us have not experienced this freedom because we are holding on to the very things that imprison us. To name a few: unforgiveness, fear, and sin. What chains are holding your spirit captive? It's time to let Jesus break them. Worship is the key that opens the prison of our souls. When we worship, we shift our focus from our chains to the one who breaks them. Worship reminds us of God's power and his promises. Worship brings us into his presence where freedom dwells. Make worship a daily practice, even when you feel bound by life's struggles. Surrender these areas of your life where you feel trapped. Ask God to set you free. Galatians chapter 5, verse 13 tells us, "You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free.